I think Sneako's a Democrat now.
3 hours ago, I tweeted, I miss Joe Biden. I miss Joe.
But apparently, he just learned that racism is bad.
Racism is wrong in all faiths. It's wrong in Christianity. It's wrong in Islam.
Which is hilarious because he spent years promoting white supremacy and doing Nazi salutes. Now he's tweeting about missing Biden, Obama, and saying Kamala wasn't that bad. But one thing we know about Sneako, if nothing else, he is gonna always switch up. He changes personalities, interests, affiliations, and beliefs every couple months at this point. Because now, according to him, Trump is the worst president ever and racism is so bad.
And Trump should be impeached. Trump needs to be kicked out of office right now. It's been a complete disaster. He's shown that he's not equipped for this war. He doesn't know what's going on.
Even though he spent years platforming, defending, and being friends with two of the most notorious racists online, Amru, aka Myron.
I'm literally in the middle of a gym calling your dumb ass here as I'm working out because you are. You're a fucking stupid fucking idiot. Fried chicken, watermelon with fucking salt, running around with fucking guns, doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, leave. Watermelon chicks. It's fine. Watermelon.
Yeah, black jokes is crazy.
And Nick Fuentes.
White people are every single bit justified in being racist. Every single bit justified, to the extent that that means going out of your way to avoid black people.
So it's funny to see him all of a sudden trying to rewrite history.
Anybody who believes in God and wants to do what's right, we can acknowledge that racism is bad.
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
Racism is wrong in all faiths. It's wrong in Christianity. It's wrong in Islam. It's wrong in anybody who believes in God and wants to do what's right. We can acknowledge that racism is bad. It's insane that on X right now, and obviously this is not the majority, you know, most people will agree, yeah, racism is not good. Especially like, you know, the YouTube community is very positive, but on X, that's a controversial statement now.
This is why Sneako oozes grifter vibes and comes off so disingenuous to me. Because I know I already mentioned it, but he was doing full Nazi salute. He was defending Hitler. Myron is one of the most racist people online, period. And Sneako has always been friends with him and defended him. If you were really against racism, if it was against your beliefs or your religion, then you would not align yourself with Myron and Nick Fuentes. Actually, if you were really convicted about your beliefs, you would be calling them out because they are racist. But Sneako doesn't do any of that. You can't worship two masters. You can't be saying racism is bad, but also my best friends are racist. And on top of that, last month, he was involved in a whole scandal because they chose to play Hail Hitler by Kanye in clubs in Miami. And instead of ever acknowledging that what he did could be perceived as racist or apologizing to the people that he offended with Nazi salutes and playing a Hail Hitler song, the hill he chose to die on was protecting free speech. Sneako is not a person with genuine conviction or beliefs. He contradicts himself all the time, like right now, saying racism is bad and the internet is messed up because if you go on X, it's really racist over there, where Sneako himself purposely cultivated an audience of misogynists and white supremacists. But now all of a sudden he's distraught because racism is bad and nobody understands it but him.
It is really insane to see that being against racism is now a controversial take on X, but you can see what people believe in now.
Sneako, rightfully so, got called out immediately. Racism is bad with the Nazi salute. That's not the first time Sneako talked about racism being bad or it being haram.
That there's a supreme race, you follow the Zionist ideology that's creating all the disruption in the world. You are following the belief system that's contributing to the genocide of Palestinians right now, Free Palestine. There is no supreme race. God did not choose anybody to be better than anybody else. That's why Islam exists. Islam exists to get rid of that racial barrier. So I corrected him. If you believe that you're better than other people, you are following Zionist ideology. In fact, that's a Talmudic ideology, that everybody else is goy, everybody else is subhuman, animalistic, everybody else is worse.
This video was clipped September 2024, but after that point, he still had conversations about white supremacy, and America by default is a white Christian country. He continued to be anti-black and spread anti-black propaganda while debating Abba.
The uncomfortable truth that people weren't acknowledging is that the majority of the hate crimes or from black people.
But I guess for Sneako, racism is only bad when we're talking about Palestinians, and supremacy is only bad when we're talking about Jewish supremacy, but he's down for white supremacy. Or just beliefs in being a good person and being fair to people, would not support racism, would not support white supremacy, would never align with Myron and Nick Fuentes. And he does, and he went on a whole red pill Nazi party 2 months ago. So everything he's saying is cap, he doesn't even believe it. Or Sneako talking slick about Black Lives Matter, advocating for all lives matter, which was literally the racist white supremacist talking point. We know that all lives matter. The only people that was ever in question for was black people, black lives, who are still brutalized and killed by police. Therefore, the need for a reminder that black people, black lives matter. We are just as important as everybody else.
Nah, this guy's not racist. This guy's not racist. He's got a point. Saying that like some lives should be advocated for more than other lives is racist.
It's absolutely not racist if some lives, black lives, are devalued to the point that by some people we're not even seen as human beings. They should be. We should be advocated for to matter just as much as everybody else. A person with a Haitian father you would think would understand that. But Sneako is the personification of a walking identity crisis.
All lives matter. Really? If you think about it, all lives matter.
For Sneako to be a person of color, a non-white person, he really was on that white men are being attacked and erased train, supporting white supremacy and trying to make white men the victims of society, when that was just never the case. And we see that now more than ever with Trump in office.
Have you guys ever talked about how there's a certain level of privilege being people of color to talk about this? I think white people were talking about it, but it's really quick. They labeled Trump supporters alt-right, racist. I think there's a certain level of privilege when it comes to free speech nowadays because white dudes have just been shut the fuck up that like you can openly talk about this and then people get confused with me. Just call me an incel. Their insults are so dry because I'm not a white male.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that you would be able to talk about this stuff as much if you were white?
I'm gonna be honest with you. No,
right?
Hell no.
Who would be canceled from day one?
Yeah.
And I've said it before. People get mad at me, call, Myron, you're Uncle Tom. If anything, we oppress white men like at a ridiculous level.
But things really got crazy when Sneako tweeted, "I miss Joe Biden, man." That tweet got 12 million views. And of course, people had a lot to say about that because Sneako was right-wing, MAGA down, supporting Trump, praising everything Trump did, really advocating for all of that. He was right there in the right-wing podcast bro sphere supporting Trump. No, you don't get to say that now. F you and every grifter who got young voters to vote for this con, which is a really good point that we need to keep calling out. All these influencers, podcast bros, just talked about Theo Von yesterday, that are suddenly waking up and realizing how bad things are and having buyer's remorse. Doesn't mean we have to forget how hard they were riding for Trump, how much they were criticizing everybody else, and how many young people they influenced that didn't do their own research or were just looking it up to and trusting somebody else to vote for Trump, which got us where we are right now. And they don't just get to tweet something else and hide the MAGA hat like that was never them. That wasn't that long ago. And just like I said with Theo Von, these people were still hanging with Trump. They were still taking pictures with him at UFC events. They were still glazing Trump every chance they got until it no longer suited them because Trump is so bad and so toxic now that being pro-Trump no longer benefits them. Which I responded, dude changes personalities and beliefs every other month. And I just thought this tweet was funny. When I see this, I just know you're dumb as fuck. Because even all these years later, he's still copying Andrew Tate. I miss Joe Biden, man. It's about to be the thumbnail. Y'all are seeing the thumbnail to make it. Whole political analysts retweeting about Sneako grifting. Keep calling them out. Manosphere update. The amount of conservatives that poured so much effort into courting young streamers and podcasters to look cool was always silly. These young people don't have an actual ideology and blow wherever the wind goes. That's very true, and we're seeing that with all of these podcast bros. That was a wave at the moment, and they could grow and benefit from Donald Trump and MAGA, so that's what they went with. And now all of a sudden, it's no longer popular, and they're all backing away from it. Sneako ended up addressing the tweet on stream.
3 hours ago, I tweeted, I miss Joe Biden. I do! I miss Joe! I miss sleepy Joe Biden. This is terrible. Trump is comparing himself to Jesus. He's using Antichrist rhetoric. I miss Joe Biden! Stumbling around.
All of these guys in any MAGA is so fake and theatrical to all of a sudden act like Trump got so bad and they don't know how we got here. He's always been exactly who he is now. He's never really hid it. He's never really tried to cover it up. And in fact, they voted for Trump because of the way he was, because he was a narcissist, because he was an outward racist, because he was a misogynist. But all of a sudden, now that the shit's hit the fan and Trump doesn't have any guardrails and he can do every single thing he wants, the incompetence is bleeding through everything he does. He's destroying the economy. He destroyed the job market. Real estate is in the trash. We're in a war. They're firing all of the leaders in the military. We're in a bad state as a country. And now these people are trying to jump ship, but Trump is who we always knew him to be.
This was what we had to deal with. We didn't even know how good we had it. Joe Biden would be like, sniffing a kid. We did not know how good we had it.
We did know how good we had it, which is why we were against Trump. I remember Trump's first term. I was glued to the news. There was something chaotic happening every single day. We remember how bad it was, how chaotic it was, how many moving pieces there were at one time to even keep track of. It was horrible, which is why so many people breathed a sigh of relief when Biden was elected and politics went back to normal and we didn't have to tune in every day to make sure the world wasn't ending.
Biden it was just simple. The worst thing about Joe is that he forgot where he was. The worst thing about Trump is antichrist rhetoric and war that nobody wants. And
a bleeding narcissist with the God complex, who Trump always was, and they knew that.
A draft and maybe the end of American empire. I don't know. Oil prices up, U.S. economy tanking, $39 trillion. Joe Biden was brewery.
Unlike Theo Vaughn, he actually calls out Trump by name and criticizes him by name, which is the same thing I gave Andrew Schultz credit for.
You ain't black if you don't like me. It was great. We did not know how good we had it with Joe Biden.
Did. Yes, we did.
I almost forgot that he was president. And now we might get drafted. The Strait of Hormuz, me and the Ayatollah are gonna control it. I miss Joe. Joe Biden was the GOAT. Joe Biden smelled kids. At least he wasn't in the Epstein files, you fucking loser. Biden smelled kids. Trump was friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and he's not releasing the files. Yeah, okay, he sniffed a kid. You smell like peaches and cream. Okay. Trump is saying that he would date his daughter if she wasn't his daughter. That's the difference. The lesser of two evils. I miss Joe.
Sneako's a Democrat now. He's a Democrat. Sneako has turned on Trump, who he endorsed in the 2024 election. After that, Sneako just started trolling. I miss Obama, man. He started posting, I guess, highlight reels of Kamala, clearly trolling people. I am so confused. Didn't you vote for Donald Trump? Didn't you tell people to vote for Donald Trump? Are you okay? Did you not get what you voted for or something? First, you said you were missing Joe Biden. Now you're posting Kamala Harris edits. Not that I mind, but dude, it's too late to have voters' remorse. Sit in the bed you helped create. The bad part is we all have to deal with the consequences of who they platform, promoted, and voted for. What's with every pro-Trump clown acting shocked at what he's doing? He was Epstein's best friend who destabilized the global economy while trying to start a war with Iran the first time he was president, which is my point. We already saw exactly who Trump was with those 4 years of him as president. So anyone acting surprised or they didn't know what they were getting into or expecting something different from Trump chose to be willfully ignorant. The thing is, I don't want to give Sneako too much credit because he doesn't deserve any credit or grace. None of these people do. But what I will say is, at least he's putting a name to the criticism and not talking vaguely about the government doing things or who's really in charge without naming Donald Trump.
And Trump should be impeached. I agree. Trump needs to be kicked out of office right now. It's been a complete disaster. He's shown that he's not equipped for this war. He doesn't know what's going on. He's senile, he's lying, he's glazing the media, then changing his mind. He doesn't know if it's a war, if it's a conflict, begging for more money, wanting troops on the ground. If he's not impeached, then we are a failure as a country. And I said this from the beginning, and I'm more vindicated every day. This is a perfect example of...
Said this from the beginning when? After you helped get him elected?
A war, for maybe the first time in American history where the majority of Americans want us to lose this war.
Sneako, just like all these other influencer podcaster bros, are having buyer's remorse. At the end of the day, he's just a grifter with a permanent identity crisis that really doesn't believe anything he's saying out his own mouth. I'm pretty sure if the blue wave comes in the midterms and Democrats win the presidency back, he's going to be railing against the Democrats the whole time and trying to get the GOP back in power because he doesn't really care about any of this. He's just riding whatever the popular sentiment is. And that's all of them at this point. But shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting. And thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.